So there is a version of this story that I have told in my head maybe 1,000 times over on repeat. The version where I know how it ends before I start telling it, where everything makes sense in hindsight and I can, connect all the dots cleanly and hand you a lesson wrapped up in a beautiful bow. But that is not the version I'm going to give you today. Today, I want to give you a real one. The version where I did not know if it was going to work or not. The version where I was terrified more days than I was confident. The version where I built something, a life, a family, a business, a presence with no roadmap, no blueprint, and no guarantee, ladies and gentlemen, that any of it was going to be okay. Because in actuality, I think this is the version you need to hear. So, let me start from the beginning. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you have been here with me for a while. My name is Ellie, and if it's your first time here, I create content at the intersection of three main things that make up my whole life right now, and that is motherhood, building a business, and being a wife. And I really try to do that as honestly as I can, because the world has enough highlight reels. What we actually need is more of the truth. So today's video is one I have been sitting with for a very long time. It essentially is my origin story, where I came from, what shaped me, what broke me a little bit, or maybe a whole lot if I could be for real, and what I chose to believe anyway. So if you have ever felt like you are building something with no example to follow, no family member had ever done it before you, there is no mentor who looked like you and lived like you, this video is specifically for you. Now, I need y'all to subscribe before we go any further, because this is the kind of content I make on this channel right here, and I do not want you to miss what comes next. So let's get into it. All right, so here we go. I grew up in Jamaica, and the first thing I want you to understand about that is Jamaica is not any one place. I mean that literally, and I mean that in every way that matters. I grew up between two worlds because my parents had been separated since I was born. My father lived in Kingston, while my mother lived in the deep rural parts of St. Andrew, far away from the city. Y'all people would say, Baka Jesus. Far away from the noise, far away from most things that a child would consider exciting. And what that meant in practice was that I spent my life shuttling between two completely different realities. On my father's side, in Kingston, cable TV, Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, internet, fast food activities, all that kind of access that makes childhood feel abundant, feel exciting, feel very enticing. And very early on, I learned something that took me years to unlearn, and that was money buys comfort. That access and ease, yeah, they go together. That having more means life is better on this side. And then when I would go back to my mother's side in rural St. Andrew, where running once somebody here, it was not always guaranteed, where the internet meant a hotspot connection from your cellular phone. Y'all remember Clara back in the days? If you don't, I think you're a bit too young. And it was poor signal in the area because of the access to just having the towers, the cellular towers in that area. It was very quiet. It felt like the whole world had just gone somewhere else without you. It was lonely. Honestly, it felt very isolating. But I want to tell you something I understood much later. There is a kind of peace, low-key, in that place that the city could not give you. It was a stillness, a slowness, a reminder that the world is not always as loud as it seems. And sometimes being far away from the buzz, it is not punishment. It's actually a gift. Now, I needed both of these worlds to become who I am. The hunger that Kingston gave me and the peace that the hills gave me I carry both of them still. And I think that is the first lesson that shaped everything for me. You can hold seemingly opposite things inside you at the same time, and both of them can be true. Now, by the time I got into high school, I already decided something for myself. Listen up. I'm not sure if I had the language for it at that time for real, but the feeling was clear. It was deep. I knew I did not want to be average. I was not willing to accept the ceiling that the box I was living in seemed to be offering me. The high school I attended in Jamaica introduced me to something I had not much exposure to before. And that was girls of every background. Some were way more privileged than I was, and there were some that were less fortunate. And just watching all of those different lives existing in the same space, it did something for me. It like set a fire off within me. It made me think, if people are going to struggle regardless, I want to be struggling forward to something worth having. So I started sitting CSEC exams, and if you're not familiar, this is our Caribbean Secondary School Certification, where I guess I could compare it to the SATs in America, where you sit that after high school and those grades help you matriculate into tertiary education. CSEC is the same thing, and it is managed by the Caribbean Examination Council, which would be CXC. So I did those exams from as early as the 9th grade. I had the college requirements completed by the 10th grade. So not to toot my own horn, but when I told you the fire lit, the ambition came cracking down, yeah, don't play with it. And I'm not, sharing that to brag. I'm sharing it because I want you to understand what was driving me. It was not confidence. Honestly, a lot of it was fear. Fear of staying, fear of the version of the life I had waiting for me if I did not push. Ambition born from adversity is still ambition, and it's what got me out. Now, I also want to say this, and I say it because it matters to every single thing that comes after. I was not your darling, sweetest teenager. I was going through a lot. Things I carried quietly that showed up as attitude, as acting out, as the kind of behavior that makes authorities write you off. Truthfully, most of them did. But there was this one teacher I had in high school. We're going to call her Miss G. And to this day, I still refer to her as my second mother. Like, you can see my whole face light up just thinking of her and the impact that she had on me as my teacher back in high school. Now, when every administrator in the school had essentially, given up on me, Miss G, she kept pouring into me. Not that I deserved it, because there was an instance where I was really disrespectful to her, but she continued to see through that, see underneath that, and she didn't give up. She kept encouraging me all the way through. She saw something, honestly, that I could not see in myself yet, and she refused to let me become the worst version of what I was going through. And honestly, I do not know where I would be without her. And if you have someone in your life like that, someone who believed in you when you did not believe in yourself, hold on to them. Tell them what they mean to you, because that kind of person is rare. And listen, they can change the entire trajectory of your life, because she definitely changed mine. Now, before you get a little bit excited, there's a chapter of my story that I'm gonna talk about today only in an outline, because the full version of it, the immigration story, the testimony, truthfully, I'm not ready to give you all of it just yet. What I will tell you is this. I moved to these here United States in the pandemic. And when you sit with that for a second, I did not move to a country that was thriving and easy to navigate. I moved during one of the most uncertain, de-establishing periods in modern history. The pandemic changed everything that we consider normal at that time. And would y'all believe that was literally 5-6 years ago? Everything that could make a move hard was hard. And I will be honest with you, there were long stretches of that season where nothing at all felt like it was going right, where the timeline I had in my head kept moving and moving and moving and not matching the reality I was living, where I kept having to choose over and over again to believe that it was all going to work out. Now, Ladies and gentlemen, that is what faith actually is, by the way. It is not the feeling of certainty. It is the decision to keep going without it. I just chose to keep going. And eventually, it all worked out. I built a life here. I became a wife. I became a mother. I became a freelancer, then an entrepreneur, and then a content creator. And every single one of those identities was built in a country that was not the one I was born in a culture, if I'm being quite honest, that is still teaching me its rules. In a season where I had to figure out almost everything from scratch. There was no blueprint, no template, and no family member who had done it before me and could say, here, this is how it goes. It was just me and my husband and a decision to believe that we could. This right here, this cell phone, don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it. The business started with a phone call. My best friend in the summer of 2024, we were talking and she asked me a question that sounded very simple and it changed everything. She asked me, what do you have to lose? Yeah, the silence was deafening back then too. And truthfully, I couldn't answer it, not in the way that I expected it to, because if you know me for real, me, I'm gonna short on words. I always got an answer. I always got something to say. I always got something up my sleeve. Hello. But truthfully, I was terrified. And I want to name that clearly because I think we do a disservice to people who are at the beginning of something when we only show them the version where we were brave. YouTube, I was not brave. I was scared and I did it anyway. And that is a different thing. I felt like entrepreneurship was not meant for someone like me, an immigrant. Someone still finding their footing in a country that was not hers by birth. And nobody in my family ran a business here in these United States. Nobody was selling a service or building a brand. There was no example to point to, no elder to call and say, hey, oh my angle this. When am I doing my reach at a party? Oh, it go. I had to figure it out. And I have made mistakes. You see, real ones, expensive ones, the kind that I am still correcting today, here and now, in 2026. But here is what I know now that I did not know then. When you are building from scratch with no investor, no inheritance, and no safety net, it is going to be hard. There is no version of this where it is not hard, but hard is not the same as impossible. And the only way to find out which one it is to start. So I started. So who am I now? Who am I now? I am a Jamaican woman living between two cultures and carrying both with pride. I am a mother, and becoming a mother made me more resilient than anything else in my life ever has. Because guess what? I cannot give up, and I will not give up, not when my son is watching me. Not when I am supposed to be showing him in real time, in real life, what it looks like to pursue something that matters. I am a wife, learning day by day what it means to build something with another person, to fight together instead of against each other, to be a partner in every real sense of that word. Partnership is no easy feat. And I'm also an entrepreneur, a content creator, a freelancer, a woman who is healing and building and unlearning all at the same time. And I'm doing it publicly because I believe that someone needs to see this be done out loud. Now, I'm not on the other side of the story yet. I want to be clear about that. I am writing it right now in real time, and I am inviting you to be here for it. So if you ever felt like you were doing something without a map, without a blueprint, like you were the first person in your family or in your circle to try this thing and you had no guarantee it was going to work, I want you to know, honey, that you are not alone in that feeling, because that is exactly where I am here now, right this minute. And that is the whole point of the channel. Welcome to L Productions. Now, before I go, I want to ask you something. Drop me a comment below, and answer me this. What is a thing that you are building right now that you have no blueprint for? What is a thing that you are building right now that you have no blueprint for? It doesn't have to be a business. It can be a relationship, a move to a new city, a version of yourself you are trying to become. Whatever it is, I want to know. So tell me about it. Tell me in the comments. I'm going to be right there with you in the comment section, because that is the community I'm trying to build over on this side here. People who are doing the hard thing with no map and choosing to believe anyway. Now, if this video did something for you, please give it a thumbs up. It tells YouTube that this kind of content really does matter, and it helps more people find it who really truly need it. Subscribe if you have not already, and go follow me over on Instagram as well, because that is where I share things in real time, in the moment, before they make it over here on YouTube. The link is in my bio and in the description below. I am so glad that you are here, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now. I am actually liking this hair color, but the major call outs on this is that this 15mm lens from Viltrox really fixed the framing issue that I was having when it came on to recording for YouTube, especially in horizontal content, because at least we're getting shoulder up, and it's because I'm at the dresser and I wanted to, you know, of course, put on a face beat at the minimum. So let's get that started, and I'm not gonna do too much, only because I am just trying to be camera ready. Can you tell I'm a little bit nervous? But we have to show up. We have to show up. So yeah, let's do it.